Mr. Crab, and Mr. Monkey. One day, Mr. Crab picked up a rice ball lying on the roadside. When he got excited about it, Mr. Monkey walked by. Mr. Monkey was holding a persimmon seed in his hand.
Hi, Mr. Crab. Why don't we exchange your rice ball with my seed? You will have a lot of persimmons once the tree starts bearing fruit.
Mr. Monkey said. Mr. Crab answered,
I see. Let's exchange them.
Then they decided to exchange Mr. Crab's rice ball with Mr. Monkey's persimmon seed. As soon as Mr. Crab got home, he planted the seed in his garden. Then he busily watered the seed every day. Eventually, the seed sprouted and became a tree with a lot of delicious-looking persimmons.
I will start eating them,
Mr. Crab thought in his mind. But then he realized,
Oh, I cannot climb the persimmon tree because of my scissors.
When he was thinking, Mr. Monkey came by again. And Mr. Monkey told Mr. Crab,
Hey, Mr. Crab. At last, this persimmon tree bore fruit, didn't it?
Mr. Crab said,
Mr. Monkey, perfect timing. Can you get persimmons for me? Sure, it's easy for me.
Mr. Monkey nimbly climbed the tree, picked a persimmon fruit, and gobbled it quickly.
Ah, it's so delicious.
Mr. Monkey continued eating many persimmons, one after another. Mr. Crab asked,
Hey, Mr. Monkey, please give me some. You are so loud. Okay, I'll give it to you.
Mr. Monkey picked up a green, immature persimmon and threw to Mr. Crab, who was standing under the tree. The persimmon that Mr. Monkey threw hit Mr. Crab.
Ouch!
Mr. Monkey said,
Gotcha!
Mr. Crab was hit by the hard persimmon and got hurt badly. A few days later, Mr. Crab was visited by his friends, Mr. Bee, Mr. Chestnut, and Mr. Mortar, while he was in bed at home recovering.
How are you feeling, Mr. Crab?
I feel better now, but I'm so annoyed with Mr. Monkey. Well, let's teach him a lesson together.
Soon after Mr. Crab regained his strength, they went to Mr. Monkey's house. They started planning something. Then, in Mr. Monkey's house, Mr. Crab went into a water jar. Mr. Chestnut slipped into ash on a fireplace. Mr. Bee flew into a garret, and Mr. Mortar climbed onto the roof to hide while Mr. Monkey was out. In a little while, Mr. Monkey came home. Mr. Monkey said to himself,
Oh, I am so cold. It's sure getting chilly these days.
And he threw some burning firewood into the fireplace. Suddenly, Mr. Chestnut, who is now roasting, red crackled and hit Mr. Monkey's forehead.
Ouch!
As Mr. Monkey sprung on his feet, Mr. Bee then flew out from the garret and stung Mr. Monkey's backside.
Oh my! It hurts!
What is moreover, when Mr. Monkey dipped his hands into the water jar to cool his hurting backside, Mr. Crab, who was hiding there, pinched his hands with the scissors so tightly.
Oh no!
Mr. Monkey rushed out of the house, screaming in pain. To make the matter worse, Mr. Mortar, on the roof, came crashing down on Mr. Monkey.
Ah!
Mr. Crab and his loyal friends stood around Mr. Monkey and asked,
Do you surrender? I'm really sorry. Please forgive me.
Finally, Mr. Monkey thought over what he had done and apologized to Mr. Crab with regret.